ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week. Good friend and colleague, Mr. Matt Grissom. Go follow him, of course, on Grissom on X at NCAA Insiders. Tis the season. I'm telling you, every day it seems like Christmas here, but when you got two rescues now here, whether it's FedEx, Amazon, you name it, UPS now, they don't stop. So when all of a sudden there's a huge barking sound or whatever, like this time, I clicked something by accident because I'm almost like startled for a second, and there I go, leaving the studio and coming back. So anyone that was here, hopefully you all come back. It's going to be a great show. First and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It is free. And of course, AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. I got a nice package on my way. Fillets, T-bones, cowgirls, whatever Terry decides to throw in there, some shrimp, some burgers, you name it. He's the best in the business. Let him decorate your tables, and you're allowed to sip on some eggnog and get ready for Christmas and, of course, the new year. So without further ado, let's bring him in. Mr. Matt Grissom. What's up, Matty?
Good morning, Jeff. How are we?
We're doing fine. You know, I'm not going to be the wet blanket, okay? I promise you that. But bowl season already started. Kind of knew what I thought we'd get from Boise State, and Washington just put a thumping on them. But the smaller games, I'll be honest, I have them up as background as I'm doing work, wrapping presents, or doing whatever it takes. The transfer portal, the coaches portal, as you want to call it, 30 coaches in and out. Who's playing, who's not playing. I know they're out there. I know people are betting on them, just not me right now, Matt.
Yeah, I'm actually having a lot of success betting them, knock on wood, which it is early. And let me preface that with it's a lot of tracking. And the model has I've been able to update some things where it's kind of like a balancing act of what do you hit on the offense or defense if the quarterback's missing, or if your stud defensive end's sitting out. Just trying to figure that out. But currently we are not counting the Navy game 4-0 against the spread.
Now, I've had a lot of people on talking about their success or their failures during these bowl games. Scotty Webb has done great as well. he mentioned this. I'm going to ask you this. If you're, let's just say, for instance, you're $100 better, which I'm not saying you are, of course. But my point is, initially, cutting him in half, he's playing $50 a game, or whoever's playing 50. Now tomorrow with Alabama or the Big Three on Saturday, you come back to your normal wages, or you stick it up. Are you just sticking to the same unit size?
Yeah, pretty much. Everything for me for college football is either a half unit or a single unit, sometimes a 2 unit play.
Okay. And for you especially, it's the confidence in the model.
Yeah, and I mean, I've kind of had to waver off of it a little bit. Um, I mean, for instance, like I took Arkansas State tonight in the Xbox Bowl versus Missouri State. Basically, Missouri State's coach, he leaves for Coastal Carolina. Both quarterbacks are going to play. It's Jacob Clark and Jalen Rayner. I think Arkansas State is a little more battle tested, even though Missouri State has the numbers. The model actually makes Missouri State minus 1.5. So there's value in taking them plus money. I took them I took Arkansas State -1 in the VSiN contest, and it is the final pick. If Arkansas State covers or pushes the -1, I win quarter 3. And get this, I'll get flown out on VSiN's dime and get to sit live in studio with the host of my choice on VSiN, and they'll pay for my airfare and hotel room at Circa if I win quarter 3. But I just think that is funny because I've been blessed enough to be able to go on VSiN shows before. So getting to go because I'll win an average Joe contest, I feel like would just, I don't know. Bill 80 and Matt Humans give me a hard time because they say I'm just a college baseball guy. And, Matt puts on the big college football invitational, and I've been asking for a spot in it. So maybe with the #1 model and a 29-8 record in average Joe for this quarter, maybe I could get the invite next year. So
Well, let me stop you right there. So technically, I don't know what's the prize if you win.
For quarter 3, I think it's like $1,000, or they'll fly you out, and you can stay at Circa. I think it's 3 nights or 2 nights stay at Circa, and then you get to go on whatever VSiN show you want.
Well, my question was initially if it was 1,000 plus whatever, wouldn't that have been the spot where you would have put X on the other side to guarantee you something?
Yeah, I think this is more for me for the bragging rights.
Okay.
I want to be invited into the Circus Sports Invitational. Well, and I think I've made it pretty clear to humans for the last 3 years. Like, come on. So, not just a college baseball guy.
And when you get to pick a show, Mitch and Paulie, obviously, before Matt, I hope you're going to go right for the jugular and go for Matt Humans here.
Yeah. I may just stare at him the whole time.
Well, I'll be rooting for you. You said Arkansas State -1?
Yeah, I've got Arkansas State -1. So I currently sit tied for second. And my best bet, which is worth 1.5 points, that was Delaware +3 last night. Pretty easy winner. And then rolled with Arkansas State tonight. So that would put me at 29 points if they can win. If they push, it's 28.5. I win by what they call action points, which basically how many ever against the spread. So if I take Delaware +3, they win outright by 7. That would be 10 action points. So depending on what you bet and what the result was, I'm absolutely dominating in that category. So I would win any tiebreaker, but as of right now, I just need a push or an Arkansas State win by 2.
Last week you were off, so we didn't get to talk about the Ohio State-Indiana game. Most people very surprised how Indiana's front seven and their defensive seven was able to stand up to Ohio State. We'll see if they get a rematch. I said to you on our show 2 weeks ago, instead of playing the game, if you wanted to go with, if you liked Indiana, go with Fernando Mendoza to win the Heisman. If you liked Ohio State, Julian Sayin. And then, of course, was the guy sitting on the sidelines, Mr. Pavia. Indiana upsets Ohio State. The voting really wasn't as close as a lot of people thought. Fernando Mendoza wins the Heisman. Pavia looks like an asshat in New York City, which probably, I'm hearing the Giants are infatuated with him. Maybe they draft him, blah, 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 blah. First, let's bring it back. Thoughts on what you saw initially with the Ohio State-Indiana game?
I thought that Ohio State was just going to be the far and away better team because of the talent level. But that really just came from Indiana's performance against Penn State. I thought that really was a telling game of just where these two teams were talent-wise. But I don't know, Indiana did something after that game. And like Surratt, the wide receiver, I think there is more similarities in Indiana and Ohio State than what I initially thought. Obviously, you can say that now that Indiana won, but I think Cignetti is a far better coach than Ryan Day. I think Ryan Day is a terrible game manager. You look back at the Oregon game, there have been several close games that I feel like he's lost. And I think when push comes to shove, if you're within a touchdown game of Ryan Day, you can usually get him to have a blunder or something. And Indiana took advantage of it. Mendoza won the Heisman on that one good throw. It was a really ugly game for really both offenses, but I thought that's what we were going to get. I just thought Ohio State had the playmakers to be able to put up points. So hats off to Indiana. I think it's an unfortunate situation that Indiana, I think, got the worst draw in the playoff now, being the 1 seed, because my two dark horses to win it have been Oregon and Texas Tech. And now you've got to go through them. Meanwhile, I'm not sold on Georgia. You know that. I haven't been sold on Georgia all year, or Alabama, or Oklahoma. I don't know what to do in that game. But, I mean, it seems inevitable that Ohio State here, red carpet, go right back to the national championship. Meanwhile, it's going to be tougher for Indiana because now you have to get up for another big game in versus Texas Tech or Oregon.
It's funny you brought up Ryan Day because for years, it's always been Ryan Day and not a good coach. Can't win the big game. Can't beat Michigan. Last year, outside looking in because they lost to Michigan, and then it clicked. The light bulb went on. And I'm going to take it to another level because his OC was Chip Kelly, and that offense was cooking with Crisco come the tournament last year. This year, it's been their defense, and that's Matt Patricia. Now, does the light bulb go on again here, where if the offense starts cooking in, they got the playmakers on the outside, they got the running backs, and they know their defense isn't going to give up a lot of points. I mean, let's put it this way, Matt. If they score 23, 24 points in at least in every game, they're going to be a hard out.
Yeah, I mean, they will, but I don't trust the offense to be able to do that. The defense is going to be able to hang with anybody and make it an ugly game. Maybe. I mean, you look there, Oregon's got a really good defense that's underrated, but they've got a flashy offense too. Texas Tech, kind of the same situation. They have a really underrated defense, maybe number 1 in the country. And then they have an offense that can move with Dickey and Baron Morton. That's where I think Ohio State is lacking. And what if I had to say, Gil Alexander on a numbers game always says, if I came to you from the future and said Ohio State didn't win the national championship, tell me why. And my answer would be because the offense didn't get off the mat. And I think you could say the same thing for Indiana. I think when they're put up against another good defense, do they have enough offensive firepower to be able to counter all of the slow defensive battle? And I'm just not seeing it.
The funny thing is what you said about Georgia, I've been saying all year about Oregon. My Texas Tech team has been my darling. I almost think what we saw in the Big Ten championship, our questions were answered. Can Indiana match up front seven and defensive seven to the big boys? They can. I'm going to take it a step further with you now with Texas Tech, because I think that's the question as well. Now, they're sitting with the bye. Can their front seven, which I know they can, they can their defense, we know is good, but what happens when they're staring, let's say, at an Oregon?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I did some hypotheticals for that matchup. Oregon, Texas Tech, model makes it Texas Tech minus 2.2. You look at Texas Tech's numbers. They're number 1 in defensive efficiency, number 2 against the rush, number 12 against the pass. This team, number 5 against the pass, number 2 against the rush. The team has not played anybody. If you want to play that card, that would be the one thing that I would be worried about. 54th strength of schedule. But then you look at Ohio State and Indiana's strength of schedule, and they're not much better. Indiana's 29th. Ohio State is 28th. They're just playing the conference. It is what it is. But I think at the end of the day, Texas Tech has one of the best rosters in college football. And they're the one that I can say they have the least amount of holes in their team. Oregon, you can look back at the Indiana game. I don't know what happened there. I don't think that happens again. If it happens to be an Oregon Indiana rematch, I think Texas Tech's going to beat Oregon. But to answer your question about Texas Tech and Oregon, I think they're in a better position than Indiana. I don't know if we're giving are we giving Indiana too much credit for an ugly game against Ohio State? Like I posted the other day on Twitter, and I feel like I'm kind of spinning circles, so I'm going to try to put a bow on this. I put on there, does anybody have any odds that are the field versus Ohio State or Indiana? I don't think either team are the best team in the country. And you can argue with me and say, well, they were the only two that were undefeated. Whatever. You look back at the first game for Ohio State, a 14-7 win over Texas. What did Texas end up being? Not very good. Yet they beat an undefeated A&M team, which, shocker, I think everybody called that. But so from week 1 to conference championship, Ohio State showed you what?
They have a good defense.
They have no offense, but can play defense. They want to make it an ugly game. 14 points against the Texas offense. I mean, Arkansas put up more points or against the Texas defense. I think we're saying it's Indiana, Ohio State, and then everybody else. And I think it's much closer than that.
Well, again, week 1 versus week 14, 15, whatever we want to call this, is one thing. They do have a resume going back to last year. If this is a big if now. We know they have the playmakers. We know they have an efficient quarterback. If the offense starts now we got the U.S. Postal Service.
Yep.
It doesn't matter who. Here we go. But if that offense takes it to the next level, Ohio State is the champs. We do know that for a fact. I will also poke holes in your Indiana thought process because they went to Eugene. It wasn't in Indiana. They went to Eugene and beat them. And the cherry on top for Indiana is the fact they stood toe-to-toe, and it was an ugly game. Now, if they played Ohio State in a rematch, I think Ohio State would still be favored 1.5. That's my take on it. And I still think the revenge factor, I do give the coach an edge to Signetti there. But my point is, Ohio State goes as far as their offense takes them in this tournament. Indiana, with that win in the Big Ten, with the Heisman Trophy winner, now can say we can play with the big boys. We've already gone to Eugene and won. So when you talk about strength of schedule, that in the whole tournament, Matt, in the whole tournament, that's the one game that should be at the top versus everyone else.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think if you take everybody's best game, like Georgia dominating Alabama in the SEC championship, if you get those teams that we saw and you put them in a bowl game, I'm talking about just what you saw the other day in conference championships. I think your best teams in the country are Texas Tech, Georgia, and Oregon that was sitting at home.
The games, there's 2 games, 17 now 21-point favorites. Oregon, let me go over to this page here. Bear with me here for one quick second. So I get the updated numbers as we speak. Oregon right now at the Circa. Good morning, Mr. Benson. 21 minus 115, heading to 21.5 with a 47.5. Mississippi 17 with a minus 110 with a 56.5. And then the 2 headliners tomorrow, Alabama, Oklahoma. Been flipping back and forth there. Right now at the Circa, Oklahoma now minus 1 with a 40, and A&M with a 3, minus 115 with a 48. I think the general public will both play Ole Miss and Oregon to roll, and then the public darling, the dog of the weekend, I think the world will be on Miami, getting the hook at 3.5. And then the Alabama-Oklahoma, Mateer versus Simpson revenge spot. I think most people, I'm talking the D-Gens and the general public, will be on Alabama and Miami.
There you go. I think you just said that I'm the DJ. I think you named all of the things I'm on. Difference is I got really good numbers. I got Miami at the opener plus 5.5. I have not bet Alabama, Oklahoma, and then I got Ole Miss minus 16.5, and I got Oregon minus 20.5. So I agree. I think the one that I'm most worried about is Ole Miss, because Tulane could be frisky on offense with Ratzlaff. And what do we get out of Pete Golding as the head coach for Ole Miss? I almost think, though, if Ole Miss is keeping their offensive coordinator and then Golding is going to be the interim, I don't really think that they slump off. So I think Ole Miss rolls. I think with Summerall already going to Florida, I know he's going to stay and coach, but what kind of effort do you get? I don't know. We'll see. And then James Madison, I think we're night and day different in talent level from what these teams are. And Bob Chesney's about to find out real quick, going from JMU to UCLA, just the talent level of who you play. James Madison, I think they played one Power 4 school in Louisville. I think it was close for a little bit, and they ended up losing by 2 touchdowns. Oregon's 2 touchdowns better than Louisville, so I think there's no reason why Oregon should not roll in this game. And you get embarrassed last year, one and done in the playoff. Dan Lanning's not going out like that again. He's going to be ready. have the team ready.
I have
But
to ask you a question. You said something that really piques my eyes. Now, listen. I read the market, especially the opening numbers. They tell a story, and then we want to go from there and figure out the story. Then the world bets either side. You said something to me that really piques my interest. A&M opened up at 5.5. They didn't open up at 2. They didn't open up at 2.5. They didn't open up at 3 or even 3.5. They opened up at 5.5 for a reason. They were looking for Miami money, and they got it. I mean, who in their right mind is going to go bet A&M minus 5.5 here? Now they got their 3.5 here. With your model and everything, was that 5.5 too high, or they made a statement? A&M's the right side here, and we just need hurricane money.
no, the model makes Miami an outright winner minus 3.7.
Okay.
Not a buyer at all of A&M and what they're doing. Power rating wise, they are 0.1 off of each other, 24.74, 24.86 in favor of A&M, but not enough to move the needle. Strength schedule 16th for A&M, 45th for Miami. So there's your one knock on Miami if you can find one, but everything else, it is very much in favor of Miami getting this win outright. And I think it's possible. They do struggle on the road, but I think Carson Beck is a better quarterback than Marcel Reed, and the defenses may negate each other, but we've also seen A&M give up a crap ton of points on defense too. So I think they're going to be fine. Carson Beck has been in this situation on the road in the SEC multiple times. So I'm going to be rattled by it. You can rely on the run game, get the ball to your playmakers, and let the defense play lockdown defense. They're going to be fine.
Well, the one significant edge is that coaching on the A&M side.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes. But coach doesn't step foot on the field to play. So we'll hope that Carson Beck and the offensive and defensive coordinators can stay in those headsets and put them in a better position than what their head coach could do.
All right, before we wrap it up, of course, so again, tell everyone, big game for you tonight, big repercussions. Hopefully you're holding the belt, the title, and you go on the Matt Yeoman show and you tell him why you should be involved next year. Tell him JD from ECSI I will be watching. And, maybe if you bribe him with a couple McRibs, he's already had the 100 there. And then, of course, your leans again for this weekend.
Yeah, so long story short, the VSiN Average Joe contest is kind of like a miniature version of their Circa Football Invitational. And for those that missed it earlier, I've been in Human's ear for about 3 years now to be invited to it. And he said I was just a college baseball guy. So I really leaned into building the college football up and content and building this model this year, which ended up the number one no weaknesses ranked model in college football that was tracked. This beats FPI, SP Plus, Caesars opening lines, everything. It was all tracked by Andrew Percival. If you go check me out on Twitter, you can look at all of those that he tracked. But I'm sitting here 28-7 in this quarter of Average Joe at 28.5 points. I got to get, or 28 points. Got to get to 29 to take over first place. And that starts or ends with tonight, Arkansas State -1. So I'm on an absolute tear, though, over the last 4 weeks. 28-7. Take that all day. And then rolling into the games, I've got Ole Miss -16.5 over Tulane, Oregon -20.5 over James Madison. I think both of those you can play them. I think they they will roll. And then I'm on Arkansas State tonight -1, Miami +5.5. Model likes them to win outright. And let me see one more bowl game coming up. I'm staying away from Alabama and Oklahoma. I will live bet it, But Friday, we have 3 bowl games: Kennesaw State at Western Michigan, Memphis at NC State, and then, of course, the Alabama at Oklahoma. And I will be on Kennesaw State plus the points in that one, to give you one more.
Myself and Matt will be back on Tuesday. I'm going to have Andrew McGinnis on at around 10:30. Matt's going to slip in around 10:55. We're going to recap what we saw on the weekend, and he's going to give you his outlook for the following weekend before Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. We're going to figure out the New Year's week there when it comes. As always, Matt, the scroll has been scrolling the whole time. They know on X to follow you on Grissom on X, of course, NCAA Insiders, but tell them where they can find all your written
Wait,
work.
we have an announcement. Thanks to the Twitter marketplace, I have changed my handle. It's not at Grissom, but it's at M Grissom. So we're getting a little closer to my goal of either having at Grissom or at Matt Grissom. Had to split the difference and go at M Grissom. So make sure you check it out.
So no more Grissom on X?
No more Grissom on ecstasy. No.
All right, we'll have to change that one, of course.
Yeah, I have to be difficult, right?
Of course. And your website where they can find all the written work?
MattGrissom.com. Easy enough.
Go follow him at M Grissom on X, at NCAA Insiders, and of course, go check out the website. We're rooting for Arkansas State tonight, of course, so we can see you live on VSiN. So from myself, Jeff Dawson, at EC Sports Investor, the one and only Mr. Matt Grissom, at M Grissom on X, at NCAA Insiders. Ron Marmolewski will be back at 1 p.m. 10 a.m. West Coast time to talk some more college football, NFL. Until then, guys, behave yourselves and stay tuned.
Thanks, Chip.
Thank you.